topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning, Tennessee. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show. We bring you, for the last 16 years, the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Hey, this is our Tennessee show this morning. This is amazing because I was just talking to my great producer, Rebel. The name of this, agent is Mr. Nice Guy Medicare Advisor. And I got to tell you, it's so apropos. It couldn't be to a nicer person. Let me introduce you to our independent Medicare broker, Randy Hall. Good morning, Randy.
Hey, top of the morning to you, Steve-O. Great to be with you this morning.
Yeah, don't be buttering me up, bro. Okay.
Hey, look, you're making me blush over here.
We've been talking for the last 15 minutes. I really enjoy doing your show. And this show is so important to me, Randy, because I was one of those people who was uneducated about Medicare, and it cost me dearly. I missed a whole year. I had to pay penalties.
Like 10% or something, right?
Yeah, just because I was uneducated. So this show is so important, and you're going to learn about Medicare, and we'll talk even about the difference in Medicare and Medicaid. But first, Randy, tell us about your company.
Well, so we are based out of Franklin, Tennessee, but we can sell all throughout the state of Tennessee. I'm an independent broker, so I represent all the different Medicare companies. I think I'm licensed to sell every Medicare Advantage company and somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 Medicare supplement companies. Our whole thing is we do not pressure people. So I hate high pressure salespeople. Always have. I refuse to work that way. I come from an educational base. So when I meet with a person or talk with a person on the phone, I come at it from, okay, so what do you have now, and what would be ideal for you? And I try to kind of talk it through with them, and find out if it was me, what would I do if I was them, based on what they tell me. And we get paid by the insurance companies. People don't pay us; the insurance companies pay us. So we try to be as unbiased as we can. Other than we know. Basically, what companies are the easiest to work with and which ones are more squirrely, let's just say.
Yeah.
But I've been doing it for going back to 2008 is when I started. So it's been, 17 years now?
Wow. You've seen a lot of changes, haven't you?
Oh, man. And the last 2 years have been the most, I would say, unstable. That's a good word. The last 2 years have been the most unstable that I've seen. So there will be a lot of changes for this upcoming, election period, which runs from October 15th to December 7th.
That's open enrollment, right?
Well, they call it AEP for annual election period. There's a time now that what's confusing, Steve-O, is there is a different period called open enrollment, and that is from January 1st to April 1st. Where if you have an Advantage plan or Medicare Advantage plan, they will allow you to change one time during that period of time. So that's, I just wanted to be clear.
So what is October? So that's the actual beginning.
Right. So that's the annual election period. So if you
Okay.
have an Advantage plan or just a standalone Part D plan, those you can make changes to as many times as you desire between October 15th and December 7th. Whatever you signed up for last after on December 7th is what you get on January 1st. So does that make sense?
Randy, yes. So I need to, not me personally, but
Right.
somebody who's
Hypothetical.
listening or watching right now. So it starts in October. Can they call you now to
Well,
get
so
information?
a person can always call me and I can tell them what I know. I just can't speak to next year's benefits until October 1st. So there's
Okay.
actually a 2-week period prior to October 15th where I can discuss benefits for the next year. So what I typically do is I'll call all my current clients and I'll bring them up to date on changes in those 2 weeks and feel out who probably wants to look at their options, or just tell. And most people this year, fortunately, don't have to do anything if they don't want to. But I do have some, as we were discussing before the show, there are some plan exits that are going to affect me and my clients in Tennessee this year. And when a plan exits, you have to get a new plan or you get put back on original Medicare. So
Okay.
I know I just said a lot of stuff. So.
No, I that makes sense. So I told you when we were talking before that you've got to be so careful with these national commercials.
Oh yeah.
And I was sharing with Randy just some of the commercials I've seen lately that are so bogus. But if you're not educated, you go, wow, I should be getting that. And I just wanted to tell everybody, one of the things is every zip code is different.
Mm-hmm. So it's
And
based on the county you live in.
national ad if every zip code's different. So let's talk about some of the horrible information that people are getting on some of these national ads, Randy.
Well, this is a subject that's near and dear to my heart because these shysters, usually they're shysters that call you on the phone, if I may say so. Typically, it's a bait and switch scheme or scenario. Not always, but most of the time it is. Those ads, I want to trust JJ, I want to trust Joe Namath, I want to trust Tom Selleck. I want to trust those guys, but they're not the ones who are on the other end of the phone. They don't know what they're representing. If I may say so. So you call into one of those numbers, or somebody calls you and you start talking to them from a robocall or something like that. What Steve said is 100% true. What's available to you is based on the zip code, and because the zip code tells them what county you're in, right? So what's available in your county, you may be seeing an ad in Florida there where you are. Well, Florida, I'm here to tell you, has excellent Medicare Advantage plans. So say you're living in Kansas, somewhere in Kansas or Iowa or something like that. Well, they don't have nearly as good Medicare Advantage plans as Florida or Arizona or California. Their Advantage plans are a lot weaker in terms of benefits and networks and everything like that. Well, so when you call in and you're even from Nashville, Tennessee, you're from Nashville, you're thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to sign up for the thing they're talking about. Well, what happens is they're like, oh, we don't have that, but what we do have is this. And then they'll start talking to you about other benefits. Well, the reason we put people on a plan, I can't speak for other agents, but I could speak for me. The reason I put people on a plan is because I make sure their doctors take it. I make sure their drugs are covered. Great. I make sure that it doesn't have any gotchas in it. So say you sign up for something with a food card, but hey, you actually go into the hospital. You're paying like $500 a day versus your old plan, which was like $250 a day. So in the long run, you get screwed. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And the last thing I'll say is most of these food cards that they're talking about on there, Most of those are for people who have Medicare A and B and Medicaid, which is you have to have both. So if you have both, you qualify for these things that are called dual plans. Medicare, Medicaid, that's why they call it dual, right? Two. Well, if you just have Medicare or you just have Medicaid, you can't get it. You got to have both. But they don't care when you call it. Did we lose them? Oh, wait, you guys still there, right?
Yes.
Oh, I got a pop-up ad on my screen. So I was like, oh, no. But at any rate, so the people who are calling in, they don't care whether they have Medicare or Medicaid. They just want to trick them and talk them into something so then they can be their agent and get the commission on it. They don't care about you.
I don't know if it's the same in Tennessee as it is here in Florida, but when I first signed up, so I went the HMO route, and I'd like for you to, we'll explain HMO and PPO, but so this is strange, Randy. I had a doctor that I really liked, a specialist, orthopedic, and I wanted to make sure he was on my plan.
Yeah.
He was.
Oh, good.
But the only thing is, when I had to use him, he was not part of the group that my provider was in, and I couldn't use him.
Oh,
Does that
really?
make sense? Yeah, so in other words, even though he was on my plan, the doctor that I use, what is it called when your main doctor?
Primary care physician?
My primary care, he was not part of my primary care's group.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I was not able to use him. Now I had to use one of the ones they recommend, and he turned out to be very good. But that really bothered me. And I'm on Humana.
Yeah, you
But
could say it.
so you don't
You're not
have
an
that
agent. They're not going
problem.
to take away your license, Steve. So you're good.
Yeah. So you don't have that problem in Tennessee.
Well, so when I began, there was a company that was called HealthSpring, and they're actually coming back this year. But HealthSpring had these things within their HMOs called iPods, IPOD, for independent physician, whatever. I can't remember. It's been a while. So it was very similar to what you're talking about. Most companies don't do that. Here in Tennessee, none of them do it anymore. They did away with it around here, I want to say 10 years ago, maybe. But I've heard of this, but it's been a long time since I heard. Generally speaking, so HMOs, that's a health maintenance organization. PPOs, preferred provider organization. So they both have networks, right? A PPO is more of an open network. An HMO is a strict network. You following me so far?
Yes. Because you have to use the doctors they recommend on the HMO.
Right. So in an emergency situation, you could go anywhere with anything. But if it's not an emergency, if you're on an HMO, if you were to go out of network, it's similar to having no insurance at all.
Right.
Whereas with a PPO, you can go out of their network generally, but you pay, in most of the PPOs in my state, you pay half, they pay half. Now, it could be a different percentage than that, but that's kind of, you would pay more than you would, obviously, staying in network, but you can. So say you've got, 5 doctors, and all your doctors take this one plan except one, and it's a doctor you see once a year. Well, if you don't mind paying a little bit more the one time you see this person, then that's where a PPO can come in handy. Are you following me there?
Yes.
So HMO, all things being equal, I have favored PPOs over HMOs most of my career. However, HMOs aren't the end of the world. But in a case like yours, I would have tried as an agent if I knew that they were that strict about that HMO. Mm-hmm. If I was looking that kind of thing up, I would have tried to make sure your PCP and your specialist were in the same, what they call iPod.
Randy, you just brought up a point about how professional you are. And because I'm going to tell you, Uh, your agent is so important. You might not think they are, but I'm telling you, because my first agent I had just basically was an order taker. That's it. He didn't, what you just said just now, he should have told me because I
Right.
shared this information. And it is so important you get a good agent because my agent I had to get rid of because he was just like actually just renewing my policy every year. And
Yeah,
there were changes every year. And he just did it the easy route. Whereas, see, what you're saying, Randy, is you really service your clients.
absolutely. Yeah. So I'm actually sending out my letters that we spoke about on the last show. I'm sending out my client letters today. And then usually within the first 2 weeks of October, I'll reach out to them with a phone call and just try to touch base with everybody. Not everybody answers anymore, but at least if I leave a message, if they want to call
Yes,
me back, they can. You know what I mean? So
we're
to
a
me,
lazy society.
it's a renewal based business. So like what happens, and a lot of people don't know this, is that say I sign Steve-O up, right? Well, as long as Steve-O's my client, they're going to pay me on him. So for me, it's made a lot of sense for me. It's a lot easier to keep happy customers than go scare new ones up all the time. So
We just,
that's, and I,
Randy,
I
I
like
just,
most of my clients. I would say 95% of them I genuinely like.
we just got our first text. This is from Martin in Nashville.
Oh, there you
Said,
go.
thank God for this show. I am also one of those people who were uneducated about Medicare. I will be calling Randy.
Oh, that sounds
And
good.
thank
Thanks,
you
Mark.
so much for bringing a show like this. It is important because you don't know what you don't know.
Correct. And you want somebody who's looking out for you, not looking out for them. That's why you don't answer those phone calls when they call you. That's why you don't call those numbers on the screen, because
Yes,
those people they don't care about you. I'm not trying to paint too broadly with the brush, but odds are and I think I said this last time, if you go on to Google and you Google a person and you see they have reviews, that's when you can get a good sense of whether they're looking out for you or not.
exactly. So, Randy, the biggest question that we have is everybody wants to know the difference in Medicare and
Mm.
Medicaid.
So just think of it this way. How do they end? What's the end of the word? Medicare, that covers your health care. And you got to be 65 or older or be on disability for 2 or more years to be on Medicare. And then Medicaid, aid. So basically, you don't have to be on Medicare to get Medicaid. You have to meet certain criteria in terms of your income and assets to get Medicaid. So that is the main difference. So you don't have to be a senior to get Medicaid. Now you can have both. So if you meet the criteria for Medicaid and you age into Medicare or you're on disability, that's where those dual plans that we spoke about earlier. If a person has both of those, then they can get these dual plans that have these really exorbitant food cards and more.
Randy, talk about supplement plans.
Okay, so Medicare supplement, that is where original Medicare is your primary insurance. And then you get what's called the Medicare or Medigap plan. They're synonymous. So you pay a premium on the front end to a company, and then they fill in the gaps of original Medicare. So Plan G is the most popular plan. That covers everything Medicare doesn't except for the Part B deductible. And the Part B deductible this year is $257. Generally, it goes up $5 to $10 annually. But if you got a Plan G, anything medically necessary that Medicare doesn't cover, once you meet that deductible for the year, you have 100% coverage. And now a Plan G, Plan N, those are the two I sell the most, Plan G and Plan N. They're all the same in terms of what benefits they cover. I mean, there's a few exceptions, but I'll talk by and large. So if you have a Plan G, Steve, say, you're going to have a Plan G with Mutual of Omaha, you have a Plan G with Humana, you have a Plan G with any company that sells them, right? They're going to cover the exact same thing. And so Medicare has an automatic claims payment system. So if the Medicare pays the claim, right, the supplement electronically follows right after it and pays what it's supposed to. Does that make sense so far?
Yes.
So as long as Medicare pays, the supplement pays, and it's automatic. All these companies have to use the automatic claims payment system. They don't have a choice. They have to use it. So I call that no muss, no fuss insurance, because you just pay your premium and you go on with your life with that. But there's always pros and cons, right? I mean, the pro of that is you know what you're going to pay for your health care for the most part. You know, the con is, it goes up in price every year. So like, can I ask how old you are?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm 67.
Yeah. I didn't want to put you on the spot, but okay. So you're 67, right?
Randy and I are twins, if you can't tell by our haircut.
He's ahead of me by about 17 years here, but all that to say, so you lived where I am, like a 67-year-old pay about $145, $150 for a Plan G, right? In Florida, it's way more, but here in Tennessee, that's about what you would pay, right?
Yeah, we're 195 here.
Well, by the time you're say 75, that 145, 150, I mean, that could be like close to $300 a month.
Yeah.
So I mean,
wow.
When you need it the most, the older you get, the more you tend to use your insurance. So it's like the older you get, the more expensive it is. The thing about an Advantage plan is you don't have a guaranteed cost like that, but you may not pay anything or pay very little if you have a good year with your health, and you get extra benefits with them. So like this dental, vision, hearing, and all this extra stuff, it does not come when you have a supplement, because original Medicare doesn't cover any of that unless it's medically necessary.
Here's a call from Norman, also in Nashville.
Storm and Norman.
Kudos to having a show like this. There are so many people who are uneducated. Your expert guest is explaining it so good. What happens if you're on Medicare and you travel out of the country? Are you covered?
Yes, on either one. So if you have a supplement, it's called foreign travel emergency. So you pay a little deductible. I don't know off the top of my head what it is because it's such a rare benefit, but you pay your little deductible if you use it overseas in an emergency, and it reimburses you up to generally $50,000. Advantage plans are the same, but they don't have a deductible generally for foreign travel emergency. Most of the plans I sell, they'll cover you up to $50,000 US dollars after the exchange rate. So you would be covered in either Medicare with a supplement or Medicare Advantage in a foreign travel emergency situation. Storm and Norman.
We have a few more minutes left.
Sure.
Why should somebody use you as their agent?
Because I'm the best. No, I'm not allowed to say that. Well, number one, I'm friendly. I'm number two, I'm professional. If you don't like friendly and professional and no pressure, then I'm probably not the agent for you.
You're not their guy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to be conceited or anything, but if you don't like friendly,
no, I want you to be.
If you don't like friendly, professional, and no pressure, then I'm probably not the agent for you. But that's why you should use me, because I'm friendly, professional, and no pressure. That's why. We'll put it in the positive.
It's pretty obvious. You know what you're doing too, Randy. Now, how do people reach you?
The best way is to call me at 615-578-5174. I also have a website, www.mrniceguyMedicareadvisor.com. You can find me there. And if you want to email me, I know it's an old email, but it's randywhall@yahoo.com. I have a professional email, but it's surprisingly less reliable than my Yahoo one. So that's why I just tell people to use Yahoo instead of my Mr. Nice Guy one, because I don't always get them, which is very disappointing. So
Randy is with us every month. He'll be back again next month.
Yeah, we'll be in the thick of it then, Steve-O.
Hey, yeah, really. Listen, if you miss part of the show or you want to turn on a friend or a family member, they can go to iHeart. They can go to Spotify or Spreaker under Ask the Experts Nashville. Randy, I love doing the show with you. You're
Just
the
flies
best,
by,
bro.
Likewise.
God
right
put
back
us
at you.
together. God put
Amen.
us together. Hey, we'll see you next month. God bless. But
You guys be good or the best bad you can be. Talk to you later.
that's Randy Hall. Folks, I'm telling you, if you're getting ready to turn 65, don't be like me. I'm telling you, we're giving you a great agent, no matter where you are in Tennessee. That's going to do it for us today. We'll be back again with you next week with more Ask the Experts.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.